Hey, everybody! It is Heretical Weekends number 40. We're back in live in sunny California for me, and probably a slightly more dismal and/or humid part of the country where Turtle and Gavin Guy are at.
Probably.
As we like to think of it in California is you're either in California or not California. That's how egocentric we are.
Mm.
But today we're talking about
economy.
we're talking about a few things. Some on the political lean today. Of course, there's been a lot in the news about this Trump situation. So Trump, pussy grabbing, that kind of stuff. And I think Gavin Guy has something he wants to touch upon about something he saw somewhere on the news or on YouTube or where'd you see it at, Gabby?
Well, which one?
The Bryan Fisher thing.
Oh, that was on the podcast. David Smalley.
Oh, that's right. So from David Smalley podcast, he had a guest on named Bryan Fisher who has a very interesting look on federal and state laws. and what else do we got? Turtle, do you have anything on our menu today?
It was just kind of Trump-related stuff, just talking about evangelicals.
Just going to come in here with your dashing good looks and your suave voice?
Yeah, that's exactly
right. Pretty much.
Can you guys hear me okay, or do I sound distant again?
You sound good.
You sound a little melancholy to me.
Oh.
No,
well,
you sound good.
Let me change microphones then.
No, you're good, dude. And if we have time, there's been a pretty interesting video that I saw by Sci-10 protege and probably butt licker Jeff Turbin, who posted a video on a lecture on how to completely refute atheism, which was pretty interesting if you can get through it. And as always, fuck Arcane Logos because he's a douchebag. So anyway,
good to get that out right at the beginning.
I always forget. When I'm in my car and I'm listening to something and I'm scrolling through and I see Arcane Logos' name on anything, I just go, fuck that guy. I don't know why. It's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like when I'm in the car and I got the radio on, I just think, fuck Arcane Logos.
Right.
Whenever I hear a radio show start while I'm driving, I'm always like, why haven't they said that yet? Why haven't they said fuck Arcane Logos?
Right. And honestly, Trey Jadlow was just about at that point with me. Like, I fucking can't stand that guy. Yet I'm strangely drawn to like watching like videos that he's in because
it's a train wreck.
Yes, like he's so ridiculous, dude. Like he just says shit. Like I was watching this video with him and Joe Sonseed, and they were talking about some shit. And Trey's like, starts his word salad, and at the end of everything, he just goes, by definition, like that somehow just absolves him from having to fucking support anything he just said. He's just like, so and so and this and that, necessary beings, aseity by definition. And you're just kind of like, well, that doesn't say anything. You're not actually saying anything, Trey, you fucking idiot. Sorry. Whew. Okay. I'm all right. I'll make myself another rum and coke in a bit to calm myself down.
That sounded cathartic.
I know. Well, because I can't say it to him because he has me blocked, and then I don't think he has me blocked anymore because like he always says at the end of his videos, this was a great conversation, and not like the other conversations I had with some other atheists, and that kind of bullshit. And I'm just like, and I think because he has to keep moving around, like he's talked to everyone at least once. And then when people get tired of his fucking shtick, like he'll just drop that person and move to somebody else that hasn't heard it before, Yeah. And it's like, and there was this other video he was in with where I think it was Helena Handbasket was asking him the same question that Floyd asked him, which was why can there be more than one necessary being if they're equal, whatever. And he's just like, no, they can't be because reasons by definition. And it's like, well, fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? Anyway, Whew. Okay, I'm back. What's the topic again? Trump? Fuck that guy.
Trey Jadlow.
Ah, fuck. Like I'm gonna fucking Hulk out in a minute. Fuck that guy. Okay. Someone needs to just really go, hey, dude, welcome to the hangout. Go fuck yourself, and then just like end the hangout. Like, I get the impression that guy goes through life without anybody telling him to go fuck himself. He needs to hear that, really. Like, dude, you're an asshole. Go fuck yourself, and then just like hang up.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm good. No, I'm good. It's been a few weeks. I've seen some videos. I'm all amped up.
I've seen some shit, man.
If you see me right now, well, I'm gonna turn my camera right now for a second. So you like right now, I'm fucking pacing, right? Because I'm so fucking agitated about fucking Trey right now. I don't fucking. So okay, I'm back.
Well, let's move on to a less agitating topic. Donald Trump.
Yeah, and my bed's not made, as you probably saw for a second. So
I was so embarrassed.
I know, that's like some fucking true empiricism bullshit, dude. Like, normally I make my bed in the morning, but true empiricism looks like he sleeps in a fucking storage bin, so I can't do too bad. Anyway, all right, Gavin guy, take us away with this first topic before I just continue to go off for the rest of the morning.
Are we going with the Bryan? What's his name?
Bryan Fisher. It's your topic, man.
I know.
You have to know this. It's your topic.
Well, this is. It's not even like.
In Gavin guy's defense, before we started the show, you asked the question, "Are we starting with Trump?" And we came to the conclusion, yes. So.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, but
it's totally not my fault that I didn't know the guy's name.
Oh, it's the rum and coke talking. Okay, we can do Trump first.
No. Let's do Bryan Fisher. I'm just saying it's.
Yeah, and that
confusing.
won't take long.
Okay, because Trump's in the title. That's right. I forgot about that. I'm the worst host ever, dude. Like, I'm not meant to host. I'm meant for someone to, like, volleyball, like, set up me a topic and just let me rant for, like, 3 minutes and then just move on to the next thing. Sorry. Go ahead, Gabby.
So, on Dogma Debate.
Dogma Debate.
David Smalley's podcast out of Dallas or Fort Worth? Anyways, but he had a guest on there, Bryan Fisher, who is, I forget what he does. I'm Googling him right now. He's a social commentator. American Family Association. Yeah. So a real conservative, kind of evangelical, whatever. And they're a huge portion of what they do is kind of trying to establish, things based on a very conservative evangelical Christian interpretation of the Bible and whatever. So they're anti-gay, anti-abortion, and yada yada. Well, so in this discussion with David Smalley and Bryan Fisher, one of the topics that came up repeatedly was about the First Amendment and establishment of religion, and so they kind of went back and forth about whether or not the founders intended for that, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. Was that only on the federal level, or was it intended to apply on the state level as well? So, and the information that David Smalley kept bringing up, which I thought was good. Smalley, didn't do a bad job of defending his position, I don't think. He was pointing to the fact that I believe it's the state of Virginia, that Thomas Jefferson had established a similar constitutional amendment for that state, and that the First Amendment was patterned after the language and intention for the state. So it came from the state, and the state, law said that no, they could not establish any religion on the state level and things. And that's all okay. And David Smalley had some other information to back it up too, and he brought up the Treaty of Tripoli, yada yada. It's not a Christian nation, and this Bryan Fisher kept pointing to some historian who was kind of contemporary with the founders, and who I want to say was appointed as a Supreme Court justice or something. By Madison or someone, but anyways, this guy was saying, that they shouldn't acknowledge a Christian denomination, and the wording of it was such that you could probably take away that they were only referring to Christian denominations, that no Christian denomination should be established one over the other. And Smalley pointed to some other thing saying, well, there were founders that said, well, it's not just that, because if you allow somebody to say Christianity is only, how far is it to before they would be able to say, oh no, only this particular denomination has the right answers, so it's going to be the established, religion or whatever. So he said, no, you can't establish any. It's not the government's job to, put into law religion. So anyhow, and this is the whole reason that I even mentioned this as the topic. I would have liked to see David Smalley point to the rest of the text in that First Amendment, because the First Amendment deals with the establishment of religion, but it also deals with the establishment of free speech and freedom of the press and free assembly. And the right to petition the government. So there's several things that are established there, and it would have been nice to hear Bryan Fisher's response to asking, well, if the freedom of religion is only something that is acceptable or intended at the federal level, what about these other freedoms? Is the freedom of speech something that only can be guaranteed as a right on the federal level versus the state level, or is it intended to apply down towards the state levels? And then the same could be said for any of those. And I don't see anything within the text of that First Amendment to suggest that there's a distinction between the way that freedom of religion should be treated versus these other freedoms. And then, oh shoot, what was the other thing? Go ahead. Do any of you guys have anything on there while I try and gather my thoughts about there was second thing.
I don't understand how you could have freedom of religion on the country level, but not on the state level. How would that even work?
Right.
Like,
there were colonies that did have established like sects of Christianity that were, so in one colony it was established and they could like collect taxes that would go to the church and things like that for the Congregationalist church or the Methodists or whatever.
But he's only saying that under the assumption that America was a Christian country, in his opinion, right?
Yeah. Well,
because because if you just say religion, right? So let's say some fucking state like Wyoming decides to be a Muslim state. Is he going to be okay with that?
Yeah. Well, he said that was okay under the Constitution.
No shit. So
yeah, no.
But I still don't understand how that would work, because I mean the U.S. Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, except not in this one state.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing. That was the thing that I was going to go to next, was that the other thing that a lot of times the Christians and conservatives point to is like the Declaration of Independence, saying that these are inalienable rights that are endowed to us from the Creator.
Right.
Well, are they inalienable only on the federal level, or are they inalienable, period? is it possible that some of the laws and whatever can infringe on our rights?
Wait a minute. Are you suggesting somehow that the Christian is being inconsistent? Holy shit, I'm an asshole. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's all. That's all I had to say. I really, it just bothered me that point wasn't drawn out too, because
well, you know what it is.
I think that's a stronger case than even what Smalley was saying.
Well, Smalley's an interesting guy. First of all, that dude has like a studio, which I'm not sure if that's like the den in his house or whatever. But he has like a full blown studio with like deep, like he has like the Dogma Debate sign, and he has that like a prefabricated, like it looks like a legit studio. So props to him, dude. And everybody watches Dogma Debate. I well, if there's something interesting on it, I definitely watch that show.
Yeah.
But he to consistently get people on your show. However, you do have to have a certain amount of like velvet, a velvet glove in a way. You know what I mean? Like you can't go iron fist all the time. So maybe.
Well, I don't even think you need to go iron fist, whatever that means. I think you could have presented that in a dialectical kind of format to say, well, okay, how does this work? Please explain.
Right.
Because I don't think that there's a good answer for it.
And it may be the situation too that when you're in the moment, you don't think of it.
Sure.
I don't know, but I mean, Smalley isn't known necessarily to be uber aggressive when he talks to people anyway. At least in my opinion. There was one time where I've watched that Matt Dillahunty and Sci-10 debate like 1,000 times. I every 2 months or so, like I'll listen to it on the way to work or something because it's so funny. And I listened to the Dogma Debate thing afterwards. And where he's interviewing Sci-10 and Eric Hovind, right? And they get him frustrated to a point where he says, so because I can admit that I'm wrong about something means a dead Jew came back to life? It doesn't make any sense. And everyone starts laughing. But that's the David Smalley I want to see, right? Like if I came on here, I mean, we're a small little fucking corner of the YouTube, universe. But if I came on here and I was like, yeah, so your opinion, and I mean, that's not very fucking interesting, right? So someone that's out there, I think, controversy always breeds interest to a certain extent, and so I want to see that guy. You know what I mean? Like take a harder stance on things, especially if he have his audience.
I'm fine with his style, and I'm not even really intending to be critical of Smalley. It's just a point that I was like, I was itching to hear that brought out in that discussion. So.
Well, it's the same way before the show when I was telling you I was listening to fucking what the fuck some video with God damn it. Well, any video talking to a pre-supper, but when people answer the questions or they fall into a certain trap, and you sit there and you go, you're on the sidelines listening to it, while you're fucking cooking dinner or whatever, and you're like, fuck, why would you say that? Like you should have said this, or you shouldn't have fell for that, or it's just I think it's a lot easier when we're on the sidelines. I actually listen to on occasion like portions of our show. And I was like, fuck, I said that?
That's amazing. You listen to our show?
On occasion. Like for example, when there's a comment, right? Like that pops up or whatever.
Yeah.
And you click on the comment, it'll open up the video. You know what I mean? And then like we had some comments on the one that had Dave S on it. And it's interesting to hear me talk to Dave because we just speak so differently. Like he's all refined in English and shit, and I'm just like,
fuck Arcane Logos.
Right, I'm just like, yeah, fuck that guy. That guy's a prick. So, but anyway, speaking of pricks, segue.
Nice segue. Well played.
Yeah, that's not a far stretch, to be honest with you. But let's talk Trump for a bit. Let's get in on this Trump thing. So
Cash in.
cheap views. So it came out. Was it this week? I believe at some point that he had.
Last weekend.
Was it last week? Okay. So
Well, if it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the video, it was.
I'm talking about the locker room talk, pussy grab.
Yeah. That was last Friday, I believe.
Now, I have two thoughts on this here. So, one, as a presidential candidate, you probably don't want that shit like fucking out there, right?
Probably not.
But as a guy, I'm like, fuck, I can't say I haven't had that conversation. Not that kind of, not like I'm going to like grab some pussy or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But I mean, a conversation to the extent, like if anyone else heard it, you would look like a complete like misogynistic asshole.
Yeah.
Right? We've all had that kind of thing where it's like, you know, like, okay, I'll explain it to you another way. Okay, I will look like the jerk here. Okay, let's take this. Let's go out on a limb and say I've said some jerky things in my past. Okay, I'm a little older now, but you know, back in my 20s, you know, I used to work at a bar for like 7 years, right?
Sure.
And we used to say a lot of fucked up shit, you know. And part of the ways we used to rate how attractive a girl is how many beers it would take to fuck her, right? So now we're complete, right? See, you're laughing because you don't want to look like, you know, because it's funny, but you don't want to look like a complete jerk, right? But you know, if you get enough guys together in a room, they become stupid. That's just
and there's alcohol involved.
Right, and I probably shouldn't have been drinking and doing other things while I was working, but that's beside the point, Gaffer guy. No one needs completely sober security, okay, in a nightclub. So, what fun is that? But you know, like horrible sexist conversations do happen. Now, are we serious about it? Well, maybe some of us were, but for the most part, no, right? Like you know, as guys, like we say dumb things, and I'm convinced, like Christopher Hitchens has this opinion where if you get enough guys in a room, like dumb shit happens unless there's a female in there to balance things out, you know? it's like without something to hold our attention, we say stupid things. And so while I understand that, you know, stupid things are said, you know, and quote unquote locker room talk, Trump is just an asshole all the way around. Like this is just like ridiculously bad for him. And if I'm not mistaken, like even some of the Republicans are kind of like jumping ship, right?
Oh yeah.
Like they're just But then I go on YouTube and I see a picture of this woman wearing a T-shirt that says "Trump can grab my pussy." Trump 2016. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Help me make sense of this.
Oh, I thought we were done with the topic now.
it was just my rant, and that was pretty much
it. What's the question?
What to make of it? I thought we were going to have this conversation about Trump, but it kind of turned into a conversation about heathens' past sins.
Well, I was trying to like anchor it into some reality where it's like I'm not on a high horse, right? Like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I get it. Like I'm the least politically correct person one of the least politically correct persons, whatever, that I know, right? And so I say horrible fucking things, but 90% of it is all joking, right? Anchored in truth to some extent, but not. I don't really. A little bit. All jokes are anchored in truth a little bit, right? But Trump just seems like he's proud of this shit, you know? Like he's like, yeah, I'll force a girl to kiss me. Like I'm a fucking celebrity, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's just he's so arrogant about it. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and you're not running for president,
right? I'm just some douchebag that lives in Orange County, dude. Like I would never run for president.
Like with all respect, I wouldn't vote for you either.
What? I would make an offer
between you and Trump, okay. Yeah.
Right?
I'll go there.
Me, Trump, and Sarah Palin. I'm getting the vote, right?
Yeah.
Begrudgingly, but yes.
I wouldn't be excited about it. Like, man, this guy is going to be our president.
It would be awesome.
That's basically Trump's slogan. It'll be awesome.
Like every WWE WrestleMania would be a national holiday. Like we would. It would be great.
This is starting to sound pretty good, actually.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. So the thing about Trump and his comments is, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is anybody can basically say anything and then be like, oh, well, you know, it was just talk or I was just being funny or whatever. But I mean, there's at a certain point when we have so much evidence of all the things that Trump says and the lack of thought put behind any of the things he says. And I mean, like they've talked about in the aftermath of this video coming out, there's been, you know, reports coming from people who worked on The Apprentice and all the things that he said on The Apprentice. And I mean, it if nothing else, it tells you something about how dumb Trump is to be aware that he has all these things. And granted, he doesn't know that there's a recording of him saying this thing from 2005, but he knows he says things like this. Yeah. He knows that he's said all of these things. He knows that he didn't pay taxes. And he apparently is aware that, like, in the fact that he's been trying to hide that, is aware that people won't care for that. But he still goes and runs for president. Like, there's just no forethought in the things that he says or does, and no awareness of like the fact that this stuff might blow up in his face.
That's what I was just about to say. It's the worst cocktail of no self-awareness and being a narcissistic egomaniac. You know what I mean? It's like he just doesn't realize how much of a douchebag he is. And then, you know, when he says stuff like that, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm Trump, so, you know, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, with any other president, that would have amounted to an October surprise that was shocking and you know, would have completely blown any support. But not for him. It's not even an October surprise. This is like an October. Yeah, that checks out. That's.
I mean, they were calling for an impeachment of Obama because he wasn't a fucking citizen, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, really, a birth certificate was how much of a controversy was that?
Right.
And yet, how much stuff has surfaced on Trump, and they're just like, nah, he just says what's on his mind. He's cool, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in part it has to do with the fact that most politicians try and present themselves as being morally superior. And I guess in Trump's defense, he doesn't at all. Like, he's never even pretended to be some sort of morally upright person, and so because of that, it's not some sort of shocking thing that this stuff comes out. I mean, even like, so none of us here know the truth of the Bill Clinton allegations about the allegations that he raped these women. But
wait, Bill Clinton raped some women?
That's the allegation.
Wait, I haven't heard this.
Are you from America?
No. Wait.
Those are the women that were invited by Trump to the town hall debate and were sitting in the gallery next to his family.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. You mean during his term?
No, before.
Oh, I haven't heard this, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a link to this site. It's called CNN.com. They can.
I totally haven't heard this.
They can inform you of things that are happening in the world.
What is this? What is this sorcery you talk about called news? Like, I don't.
So well, that was what I was leading into is, so before that second presidential debate. So this is after the big shocking, not so shocking news release that Donald Trump might be an asshole. The footage and audio of him talking about grabbing women by the pussy. Donald Trump then, before that second presidential debate, which was a week ago, Donald Trump before that did this press conference with I think it's 3 women. Is it 3 or 4 women?
I think it's 3.
Who accused
Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones, Kathleen Willie.
Yeah. So he did this press conference before that, and it's just so Trump, because it's just this, even if they are in fact, were victims and Clinton is a terrible person, it still is so shitty of Trump, because it's completely this transparent political maneuver to use them to his advantage. Right? It's not like, oh, he actually gives a shit about these women. In fact, there's video of him calling Paula Jones a loser back when she was first accusing Clinton of having raped her. But now that it's politically advantageous to bring this stuff up, he brings them out in front of America and says, oh yeah, they're accusing Clinton of rape. Isn't that horrible? And it's just so obviously transparent, and that he's just using these people for his own political benefit.
Right. Well, and that happens on. I mean, Hillary brought that woman to the first debate.
That's true. That's true.
And, as people bring in like political mascots isn't the right word, but I forget what. Anyways, but they bring them around and say, well, look at this person. They were done wrong by somebody, or this this person was helped by me, and yeah.
That's true.
I remember the Paula Jones. I totally forgot about Paula Jones, actually.
Yeah.
Is it weird that I had the Playboy with her in it, though?
Yes, that is weird.
I had Pose for Playboy. I had the issue. I don't know how I got a hold of that, actually.
Oh, good work.
Well,
good work, Ethan.
We all get our news sources from different places, so I mean,
she posed for Playboy. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah. You apparently didn't have it for the articles.
No, there was never a time where I had fucking Playboy for the articles. I just remember as soon as I saw her name, I was like, "Holy shit! I have to." I looked at the picture and I was like, "If you're Bill Clinton, all right, whatever." I mean, she's not the prettiest girl in the world. I mean, but it's all good.
Oh boy.
So speaking of,
I totally sound like Trump right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So speaking,
I'm the new Trump.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, Ethan. But
maybe Trump has had 3 rum and cokes.
Maybe that would probably help if that was his actual excuse.
I was
gonna say his comment about the woman that came out after that debate, and how. So she said, well, when he got up there and he was asked by who was the moderator?
I don't know the woman.
The guy. It was the guy.
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper. Yes, thank you. When
cool.
Anderson Cooper asked him point blank, have you done any of these things that you were bragging about having done in real life? And Trump said no. Well, this woman said she was outraged and was yelling, at the screen, "He's a liar. He did this to me on an airplane back in whatever it was, 1980 something, I think." And so she came out, she went to the New York Times and said, this is what happened. So it's an allegation out there. Well, Trump's response to it was, No, she's not good looking enough. Was essentially what he said. That not good looking enough to sexually assault.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah,
It's so fucked up, dude.
he's a disgusting human being.
Like I say shit, right? And it's for laughs and stuff, but he actually means it. You know what I mean? Like that's his life. Like what I joke about, that's just him. As a person.
Yeah. So just real quick, and I was reminded about this. I don't know if I'm going to go through the whole list here, but I don't think we've talked about this on the show, but I know I've posted a link to. I'm just gonna just randomly here. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but this is called the Hare psychopathy checklist. So this is a list of traits that psychologists look for in an individual to determine whether or not they are a psychopath. So number 1, glib and superficial charm. The tendency to be smooth, engaging, charming, slick, and verbally facile. Psychopathic charm is not in the least self-conscious or afraid to say anything. A psychopath never gets tongue-tied. They have freed themselves from social conventions about taking turns and talking, for example. Okay. Number 2, grandiose self-worth. A grossly inflated view of one's abilities and self-worth, self-assured, opinionated, cocky, a braggart. Psychopaths are arrogant people who believe they are superior human beings. Number 3, need for stimulation or proneness to boredom. An excessive need for novel, thrilling, and exciting stimulation. Taking chances and doing things that are risky. Psychopaths often have low self-discipline in carrying tasks through to completion because they get bored easily. They fail to work at the same job for any length of time, for example, or finish tasks that they consider dull or routine. There's 20 on this list. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll keep going for a little bit here. Pathological lying can be moderate or high. In moderate form, they will be shrewd, crafty, cunning, sly, and clever. In extreme form, they will be deceptive, deceitful, underhanded, unscrupulous, manipulative, and dishonest. Let me see.
So what was this? This was a resume from Trump, or?
No, it has nothing to do with Trump. I'm not bringing this up in any relation to Trump whatsoever. I'm skipping down to number 10 here. Poor behavioral controls. Expressions of irritability, annoyance, impatience, threats, aggression, and verbal abuse. Inadequate control of anger and temper, acting hastily. Number 11, promiscuous sexual behavior. A variety of brief, superficial relations, numerous affairs, and an indiscriminate selection of sexual partners. Yada, yada, yada. Number 13, lack of realistic long-term goals. An inability or persistent failure to develop and execute long-term plans and goals. Nomadic existence, aimless, lacking direction in life. That last part's maybe not quite as applicable, but yeah. And so not all of these are completely appropriate. I haven't read all of them. But there's a couple on here that, and by a couple I mean about 80%, that are directly applicable to one of the presidential candidates.
Or me, which is horrible.
No, don't worry, you're not charming.
Ouch!
You motherfucker. Wait. Oh shit! Hold on a second. Damn it! Wait, I got something good for you. Hold on a second.
All right, we'll wait.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh,
yeah.
It timed so well.
I know. I was trying to click it and then I closed it and I was like, God damn.
But that is like to a T describes Trump.
Yeah, no shit. It's kind of crazy. What have you guys heard the? I'm not sure how much truth there is to this, but I saw a couple of articles or these postings on Google Plus where it's like, I think there was some guy from Russia, not Putin, but one of the guys in his I guess his cabinet or whatever the equivalent is, saying like, if you don't vote for Trump or Trump doesn't win, they're going to threaten nuclear war or some shit. I'm not sure how much legitimacy is there to that, but have you guys heard anything about this?
No, I haven't.
Then I'm going with it's probably fake.
If I haven't heard about it, it's definitely fake. I only hear true things.
I trust in Donatello. He's the smart turtle.
I've been keeping up with the Playboy articles, so I don't think it's true.
Do you know how hard it is to read articles and turn pages with one hand? I mean, it's
and the pages are all sticky.
It's so difficult.
So this is probably going too far, but so you're reading the articles with one hand and you're doing something else with the other hand while you're reading the articles?
Yeah, nouns really turn me on, so
All right, fair enough.
That's too far.
We can do a whole show about my masturbatory habits if you like. I mean,
rather not.
Nah, we'll dose it out over the course of many shows, I'm sure. The other thing about Trump that I wanted to talk about is the dilemma that Mr. Trump puts on the Republican Party, and in particular with evangelical voters. And I am no expert on evangelical voters, but as I would assume most of our regular listeners are aware, Gavagai and I are siblings, we're brothers, and we come from a very religious background, and basically everybody in our family is Christian and from the evangelical bent. So I was actually curious how some of our family members were dealing with the situation. We have one of our cousins is actually she's a Christian, and she is I think she's mostly conservative, but she has been over the course of the past year. I've seen her posting on Facebook things that lean more liberal. Like, for instance, when there was all the talk about the Syrian refugees, she was posting things about how we need to take care of people, going against the grain. More recently, she's been posting quite a few things about Trump and about how bad of a person he is.
We have at least two female cousins who I believe tend to vote Democratic, even though they're still Christian, and they at least one of them is not even. I wouldn't even say she's an evangelical Christian anymore, but she's still devout in her faith.
Okay.
So, yeah, and they make for an interesting mix. And their father, who is obviously our uncle, is very, very conservative and forwards all these goofy emails about, he used to forward about Obama being a Muslim, or all this stuff. But anyhow,
I had a friend that was like that, like my best friend from like the 5th and 6th grade, and he had caught up to me on Facebook and sent me a message. And whenever anyone sends me a message, I take a look at their profile first, and it took me a while to accept his friend's request, because I would look at some of his feed and it was like very like for Second Amendment, very NRA kind of, very anti-Obama stuff, and I'm like, wow, like I don't know if I can really have a meaningful friendship with someone that has a strong, you know what I mean, like that strong conservative right-wing belief system,
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing to me, I was just like, right, wow, our lives took a different path, but eventually we ended up like messaging each other, or whatever. He ended up being like a really nice, still a really good guy, but there is that hesitation there where there's such strikingly different opinions about this, and as soon as you hear someone's a Trump supporter, right, your mind immediately goes somewhere.
Yeah. Well, our uncle is then that's the curious thing, and what I wanted to kind of find out about was how, because Trump is not an evangelical, and most evangelicals, and I think a lot of kind of more Christians who are more serious about their Christianity are troubled by Trump. But they also, as you might guess, don't like Hillary at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Even that guy Keith, who we've mentioned many times in the past, who I'm friends with on Facebook, he has been very anti-Trump, and he's really been urging people, I think, not to vote, or maybe to vote for a third party candidate or whatever. But he's I've at least been impressed with him for seeing Trump for what he is, and his at least ability to say, from a moral perspective, anybody that has any moral sense whatsoever should be offended by him and not a supporter. So
yeah, it's I think you have to really try hard to not see Trump for who he is, though. Like, you really have to bend over backwards to not see that Trump is completely full of shit. But and I think that's the struggle. And another person who has been, I knew he was anti-Trump during the primaries, but I didn't know he was still so anti-Trump is Glenn Beck. And he
Wait,
was
what?
Yeah, Glenn Beck is anti-Trump, and it's funny to see conservatives murder each other, like with anti, like, because it's it's this interesting dynamic that Trump poses for the Conservative Party, where you have people who are distancing themselves from Trump, and then people who become angry at those people for distancing themselves from Trump, and you have this tension in the party that I don't know what's going to happen, but it's very interesting. But so Breitbart.com, which is this conservative website, posted this story, and the title of it was something like, it was like, outside of quotes, it was Glenn Beck says, and then inside, Glenn Beck says, electing. Well, it had that picture, but the title was something like Glenn Beck says voting for Hillary is, and then in quotes, like, moral imperative or something like that, which is not what Glenn Beck thinks. Right. But like, basically Glenn Beck's stance is that he's willing to put up with a Hillary presidency because Trump is bad for the Republican Party, and because Trump is a bad person, and he's not going to vote for Hillary, but he wants people to not vote for Trump, and if Hillary gets elected, then so be it. But Trump is bad for the good guys, is basically Glenn Beck's view. But it's interesting because Breitbart, which again is this conservative website, has basically, because and keep in mind that their audience is conservatives, so they put this quote from Glenn Beck, making it seem like he is now a Hillary supporter. And it seems obvious to me that they're trying to tear down Glenn Beck for not supporting Trump. you know, oh, he's a traitor. Oh, he's with Hillary now. It's like it's just interesting, and you get this kind of because if and Gavagai and I have talked about this in the past. Like Glenn Beck might be as responsible as anybody else for the rise of Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
With his fear mongering, and I mean, because Donald Trump is essentially, we are afraid of the things that are going on in this country. Obama is done all these things that have ruined our society, and we have to get back to the way it was, and that's what Trump is, and that's what the wave that Trump is riding. And Glenn Beck is as guilty as anybody of creating that narrative.
Yeah, when I worked in the senator's office here in Arkansas back, in the aughts, I guess, we used to leave Fox News on in the afternoons, like in the the kind of the front area of the office. There was always news coming on, just so we could kind of be aware of what was happening in the world. But we found out that if we didn't have Glenn Beck on, we would be barraged with calls during his show, and we would be caught completely off guard because he would be saying crazy things that people would be like, well, Obama has appointed this czar who's a communist and blah, blah, blah. And we'd be like, what are you talking about? So we had to put it on. But he would get people worked up in a tizzy by, his little diagrams with photographs of people and drawing lines connecting them and, making these bizarre accusations that nobody in their right minds should believe because there's no actual link. It's a line of chalk on a board. And
well, he's on. I mean, that's the thing. He was on a news channel,
right?
An alleged news channel that people think it's news.
Yeah.
People think it's news.
Well, and that's, I mean, to get back to that, actually, that reminds me, you had a couple, I can't remember if it was before or immediately after the video of the audio of Donald Trump saying what he said, that you had, it must have been right after that, because you had like Megyn Kelly of Fox News saying something like on her new, or no, it wasn't related to that, actually. I don't think it was. She was criticizing Trump for only going on to like Hannity's show, like, because Donald Trump was avoiding like interviews on CNN and MSNBC, and even some like he wouldn't go on Megyn Kelly's show or something like that. And so she criticized Trump for kind of only going on to very safe turf, which, Hannity and him are friends, which shouldn't surprise anybody. But then you had Hannity like with a tweet storm going off that Megyn Kelly now, like, it's obvious that you support Hillary Clinton. And what's funny is that these people are supposed to be on a fucking news channel. It's supposed to be news, and they're not supposed to take sides. And he's criticizing her for not being on Trump's side. Like, you couldn't make yourselves more obvious, you fucking idiots. But also just
go turtle.
But it again just goes to show like how amazing Trump is for tearing apart the Republican Party, and I'm curious to see how far he gets. maybe he's a genius, and that's been his game the whole time, is to see how destructive he can be to the two-party system.
Turtle is this close to saying fuck that guy.
I said fuck. I didn't say that guy, but fuck arcane logos.
Yeah, all right, I'll take that. I'll accept that fuckery.
Yeah. So within our family, I actually contacted our Gavagai and my sisters to see where they were leaning, because they are still, evangelicals
No shit.
voters.
I didn't know you guys had sisters.
Yeah, we got two, and
Oh.
And one of them's single.
that's true. Stay away though, heathen.
Please.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing at all.
How does she feel about brown Asians?
I don't know.
Delicious.
Meat with soy sauce.
So, and they were both struggling with how they were going to vote, and one of them outright said she wouldn't vote for Hillary. The other one basically said that she couldn't support Hillary and couldn't support Trump, but still didn't know what she was going to do. So we'll see. And I was very specifically trying not to spark like a debate or anything like that. So I didn't try and push it, because I was just genuinely curious how a person who tries to vote like, or views like this morality, their Christian morality as being like so important to how they vote.
Yeah.
How they were going to deal with this election.
Yeah, I was almost asked our dad about that when he was here last week, and I ended up not.
Yeah.
So
the boys are atheists, and
That's right.
the girls are still with the faith.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, they have a podcast called Super Theist Sisters.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, I thought it was to counteract your guys' old podcast.
Yeah, they're trying to tear us down.
I would have loved to have gone on that. You go, look, there's this guy, mischievous heathen. He would totally be great for your show.
Yes, that would generate some viewers, I think.
I mean, how far down the rabbit hole are they, per se? I mean,
they take their religion very seriously.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are they throwing Bibles at gay people? Like
no.
Oh, no.
I mean, they're both evangelical. As I said, they take it serious, but they don't. I could be wrong, but I don't think they've ever protested at an abortion clinic or anything like that.
Let clarify something for me, guys. So, I don't know the official definition of evangelical or the official definition of fundamentalism or fundamentalist. So, when I hear evangelical Christian, I think of like crazy Christian. And then when someone says I'm a fundamentalist, I go super crazy Christian. Like that's kind of how I categorize them. Like your level of crazy, not like necessarily what they believe in. But what's evangelical Christian?
So evangelicals are Protestants who believe in essentially the Great Commission, that they are supposed to evangelize, to spread the gospel message, and that they are going out into the world to do that in some way, shape, or form, which is a large number of denominations. And evangelicals have come to be recognized more so in modern times, I think, as more theologically conservative groups who may or may not take to a literalist interpretation of the Bible, there's a lot of overlap with fundamentalist Christians and evangelical Christians. To be a fundamentalist, you have to. The fundamentalists have this high regard for Scripture, for the Bible, and they would say that the Scripture is the ultimate authority, and in most cases they would say that the Bible is infallible and inerrant. And so there's a distinction between those two theological stances. So somebody that says the Bible is inerrant would also say that it's infallible. Someone that says it's infallible may or may not take that inerrancy thing that says there's no errors in the Bible. So as I kind of grew and studied more about the Bible, I kind of lost that inerrancy belief earlier than I did, before I lost my faith or whatever, because I recognized, there are some significant problems in the text that really can't be reconciled other than to say, well, humans were involved with this. But in some sense, the Bible is
Inspired.
ultimate truth and inspired, right? And that it's the perfect, in the sense that it's from the creator God to mankind, and its instructions on how we should carry on our lives and things.
It should also be pointed out that with fundamentalists, that just because they do have this high regard for Scripture does not necessarily imply that they know anything about it or read it. It's like they do hold this belief. It's kind of like me. I've never read Harry Potter, but if I said, oh, but it's the most important thing in the world and we all have to live by it, that would be kind of be like a fair share of fundamentalists.
Whoa! I got dropped.
What?
I got dropped, and then it said the call, and then my connection was lost, and then I came back on. Did you get? Whoa, that was so weird.
I wasn't facing my computer during that, so I didn't notice.
Like you guys went silent, and then you suddenly came back. So did you guys,
in the chat it does say you left and joined again. So
okay, did you guys hear my
your
last
story
question?
checks out? Your story checks out this time.
Did you guys hear my last question?
No.
I said, so have you had the same sort of conversation you had, like the guy with your dad that you have with your sisters, or like anything along those lines at all?
As far as like belief, I mean, the conversation I had with my dad was that belief is not a choice.
Well, okay. Well, let me rephrase. Have you had a conversation about losing your faith to your sisters?
Yes, I mean in emails, not necessarily direct. Well, no, I did have live. I had in-person conversations with our younger of the two sisters. She was, aside from Turtle, the first one that came out to outside of my immediate family, my wife and sons.
Right. Now, are they more understanding because they're siblings, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think they.
It depends on what you mean by understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're still like, "Hey, you're my brother" and all that. But I mean, they don't. Yeah. They obviously didn't disown you, or extreme shit. Okay.
No, yeah, and they're very. I would say that they're very welcoming and whatever, and I think they do their best to not offend and not that we're easy to offend, but they try not to do anything that right. They think would offend us, and like even I had a conversation with my sister and was talking about some problems I was having, and she said, well, I know you don't want to hear this, but I'll pray for you. And she means well, and I don't take offense at that. And I was like, right. I said something to the effect of knock yourself out. And
I would love to interview one of your sisters.
That's probably not going to happen. But
is that because of them, or is that because of you two?
That's because of you, heathen.
Because of Donald Trump.
Stay away from our sisters.
How many times do we have to tell you?
I would love to just get their opinion, and be like, hey, man, how do you feel about...
I mean, because here's the thing, is they are not confrontational at all. So,
right.
and not that you would attempt to be confrontational,
Sure.
but just the nature of that conversation, I think, they would not want to be a part of that.
Yeah, it would be unpleasant for them.
I would say that not that I would be right. I wouldn't be confrontational or anything, but it would be interesting to get their opinion on your guys' current position. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not going to happen.
Not that they would, but I'm just saying. Like you're saying, it's not going to happen because they wouldn't want it to happen, right? Not that you guys would veto that conversation.
Say that again.
Okay, it wouldn't. You're saying it's not going to happen because they wouldn't want to do it, not because you guys would stop them from doing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, we wouldn't stop them, but I mean,
I would discourage it.
What? Why? Why would you discourage it? Look. When I got my when I have my interview face on, like I'm a great interviewer. When I have my interview face on.
Uh-huh.
All right. All right. Well, if you locate them,
I will await for your link to their Facebook page.
All right.
I'll be waiting a while, I'm sure. Can you imagine me interviewing your sister? How great that would be.
It would be interesting. That's for sure.
I would be totally sober for the whole thing, which would be.
I doubt
sure
that
they would appreciate it, but.
Yeah,
okay.
one of our sisters is actually married to a pastor.
Yeah.
The one.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, not kidding.
Wow, that is crazy.
And he's actually a very cool guy.
Yes.
I want to interview him.
He would probably be a good interview. He'd probably be.
I'll interview him.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's actually he believes in evolution too, doesn't he? Gavin guy?
Yeah.
So
he minored. Well, no, he had a major in biology when he was and went to like a secular school in Wisconsin, and
he accepts evolution, but is he one of those guys that's like, I accept evolution, but I think God had a hand in it?
I'm sure.
Probably, yeah.
I'm sure. But that's a very big step, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
To even get to that point. But
I would. Okay, let me put it this way: I would interview any member of your family.
Ooh, wow!
Just out of sheer curiosity and interest.
About grandma.
Like, what would you? What would your focus be?
I don't. That would take some thought, actually. I would ask
just how they react to our.
Yeah, that would be obviously a topic. I would ask. Fucking my.
All right, G-Man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sobering up too. I actually stopped drinking. The more drunk I get, the more like G-Man I sound, dude. This is crazy. I'll have to return my diploma, but anyway. But yeah, I would ask them how that impacted them and what they think about it, and that kind of thing. And,
well, you can kind of get into that right here because Gavagai was still a Christian when I became an atheist, so you could.
No shit.
Yeah. So you can ask Gavagai how he felt about me turning into an atheist.
I believe it's that rock music that you're playing. To be honest with you.
It was.
That's the devil's music.
It was, yeah.
So when did you stop believing?
Me?
Yeah.
I was like 17 or 18.
Okay. And what were you already a musician then, or?
it was not tied to in any way to
No. But
I mean, I played guitar and I was in a high school band. So.
I'm curious I was curious if there's any correlation between the artistic freedom that comes with Well,
I wouldn't say artistic freedom, but I would say that I did find a very strong disconnect, So I guess in a sense it is.
You broke up there on my end.
Yeah, you broke up.
I
too.
did. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Quit buying your mic. Quit buying your mics at Walmart, bro.
They have great deals. But I would say that for me personally, there to some extent that there is something to that in that I found a great disconnect in trying to write like Christian music, like trying to come up with lyrics that were Christian-y, because it didn't have any kind of emotional connection to me. It was just me trying to be good, basically, do the thing I thought I was supposed to do. And when I would, and not that I was a great lyricist when I was 17, because I wasn't, but when I would, try and write things that just, had emotional effect on me as, a teenager, that had nothing to do with Christianity, that came a lot easier and made a lot more sense and worked a lot better. But when you try and write about Jesus loving people, like it doesn't connect, and it just feels completely false.
Well, it turns people off, and I will. Let's jump into a bit of a time machine for a second. Let's go into the Wayback Machine.
All right.
So there are two bands that immediately come to mind. That is 311. Not 311. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take that back. POD and Evanescence. Do either of you guys remember POD or Evanescence?
Yeah.
Okay. So both of those bands faulted from the same problem. They had the world by the balls. POD
or by the pussy.
Or by the pussy if you're Trump. But the POD, when I used to drive around here in Orange County, I would see all these stickers and shit all over street signs for POD playing, blah blah blah. I didn't know who POD was until they had a single, right, back in like the late 90s or whatever, or early 2000s. And as it turns out, POD are very Christian, and their first song really didn't have anything to do with Christianity at all, right? But their second single had some sort of like real like amorphous kind of general like I see you smiling down at me, kind of stuff, like lyrics like that, where it's like when they were interviewed by, let's say, MTV or Rolling Stone or something, it's like, Gabba Guy, can you quit playing with that fucking Rubik's Cube for 2 seconds?
What?
It's so loud. Anyway, so when they're interviewed with somebody, or like Rolling Stone or something, they would say something to the effect of, the song could be interpreted in many ways. Like it can be like a loved one or a love lost or something. But if you listen to lyrics, they're clearly talking about fucking Jesus, right? And so their career after that first album went to shit. Because mainstream music, when you hear, oh, it's a Christian band, they just, unless you're Creed, right, which was the only band that I knew that made any sort of mainstream sort of alt rock success, they just kind of go away. And Evanescence was the same thing. Evanescence had this really good like bass sort of audience, right? So the sort of fan base. And when their first song came out, they were like, people were saying, wow, this is like sort of like Linkin Park with a hot female lead, blah, 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 blah. And they released their first album on a Christian label. And they came out saying, well, we're not really Christian. What are we fucking doing on the Christian charts, and this and that. And they moved to a more mainstream chart from a Christian chart. And after that, they weren't seen as edgy anymore. And after that, they couldn't sell any fucking albums.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, even when I was, a Christian and I, believed this stuff, I never enjoyed Christian music. I mean, I didn't mind like singing in church or whatever. That was fine. But like,
I would love to see that.
It's really not anything interesting. But just, I mean, just like, not like I was up in front singing. Like I was just part of everybody singing. But like, especially like Christian rock, like it just everything just felt very fake to me, you know.
Yeah.
Everything just feels like it doesn't resonate at all. It's just this hollow bunch of words coming out that doesn't apply to modern life at all.
It's like that side hug video that we saw.
Yeah, it is
Well,
kind of like that.
And like those Christian movies and things too, because it's just like, it just seems forced and weird.
Yes. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's not like the movies, for example. It's not like characters that are in a situation that happen to be Christian. It's like they're slapping you in the face with Christianity.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I'll tell you, when I was in my late teens, I used to work at Knott's Berry Farm, which, of you who don't know, is a amusement park here in Orange County, and they would have a private party called Jubilation, which was after 6. They would close down the park, and they would reopen it at like 7 or 8 o'clock, and it was just all Christians. And I used to work the carnival games, and I used to work the ones next to the stage where all the bands played, and it was like 4 to 5 hours of just Christian music, like Christian rock, quote unquote. And I swear I'd never been closer to suicide than those times. But it was literally like they just took whatever the flavor of the alt rock, music was at that time.
Yep.
And they just put Jesus in it, and it was very vacuous.
Yeah.
It was just, you know what I mean? It's like, da-da-da-da-da, Jesus loves you, da-da-da-da-da, and it's just like,
Well, there
it
was
seems real forced,
There was a Simpsons where some art, music artist was trying to cross over from the secular world into the Christian world or whatever, and they said, well, you just replace all of maybe it was the other way around, but in any case, the advice was, well, you've got all the lyrics that say, baby, I love you, just replace it with Jesus. or the other way around, and so it and it's very true. The lyrics are essentially just love songs where they've, at least with the pop Christian music, it's very kind of surface, shallow stuff that it could very easily just be the description of a love relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend,
right?
Where they've completely wiped out anything that's negative or bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that the lyrics themselves, like I said, are just meaningless in many, many, many ways. It's like you said, they even when they play the music and they talk about the songs, either in magazine interviews or on TV, it was just like, well, it could mean anything. I mean, we have faith, but it's, the song isn't limited to like a Christianity or whatever. But I mean, when you think about it, it's like, come on, dude. You know what I mean?
Come on, dude.
like you'd have to. It would be a stretch to not attribute it to Jesus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was plain to see. And you know what? Those bands, they both are disappeared as fast as they came in. And not that that's any reason to like or dislike their music, but if it was their goal to seek mainstream success, it is on some level difficult to do that as a quote unquote Christian band.
Yes. Yeah.
It was really difficult to me to even be at Knott's. When I was working at Knott's, to have people go, "Oh, Christian rock is awesome." To me, rock music is, on its basis, like sort of rebellious, right? So
yeah, so there is a disconnect there. Like when you have something that's like, as you say, its foundation is rebellious, and then to have Christianity like put into it, which is the opposite of rebellious, right. especially in our culture. Maybe in ancient Greece, when Christianity was this little thing that was being what's the word I'm looking for?
They were the out group.
Yeah, they were the out group. Maybe back then you could make a Christian rock song that made sense, but not in today's culture.
At first century speed metal Christian bands.
Yes, those were awesome.
Can I say one more ironic thing about Jubilation Night was I worked at Knott's Berry Farm for 3.5 years, and I think I went through 6 Jubilation. I think it was twice a year, or when it was around there. It was at least 3. I worked through, and not that this is a causation or even a correlation, but Jubilation Nights on its surface had the highest theft in all of the parks and all year round. I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking. We had situations where groups of people would enter a, let's say, all amusement parks have like shops where they sell like stuffed animals and all their shit. And a lot of people would come in and en masse, 5-10 people, and everyone would grab shit and just run in separate directions. And this was fucking Christian night. Like in the games, in the carnival games where I worked at, people would come and literally tear the stuff off the walls and walk away. And I'm like, how? For someone like me who wasn't even like, who wouldn't even have described himself as an atheist back then, just looks at this sort of behavior and goes, how is this possible?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same kind of stuff as, Christians are infamous for not leaving tips when they eat out at dinner, and they'll put tracts out on the table instead of a tip for their waitress or whatever, and just tacky and not cool.
Yeah, especially if it's tacky anyway, but especially if that waitress also happens to be a Christian anyway. Like, hey, I already believe this shit. Give me some money. Anyway, so yeah, music was a part of why I ceased to be a Christian, but I don't know, not a huge part. But getting away from Christianity is a collection of realizations, really. Yeah. So,
well, and for me, I think my exposure to ideas outside of the kind of the typical Christian worldview through a lot of the music that I listened to helped me to at least be somewhat open, and probably more so than I would have been if I hadn't been exposed to something from outside of that, and so that there were ideas and even some groups that would challenge Christianity or some aspect of religion, and getting exposed to that and being trying to take it seriously because I wanted to be genuine in my belief. I think that helped at least crack the door to say take some of these challenges seriously, really think about them, and try to try to deal with it on its own terms, rather than in platitudes and just dismissing things. So
I'm sorry, I missed some of that because I had to pee. But what?
we were just talking about how music, whether or not it affected us, and if so, to what degree and things, and in what ways. So,
well, what's funny? I heard you mention right before I took my headphones off because if anyone watches this, I went to go pee. But when it comes to like leaving tracks for tips and that kind of thing,
yeah.
They actually have the tracks that look like $20 bills,
right?
Like $5 bills when they're folded up, and then when you open them, it says something about fucking money and material things or Jesus and this and that. And it's like, now, I used to be of a shitty mindset where if anyone has seen Reservoir Dogs, you guys seen that movie?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, I've seen it.
Do you remember in the beginning where Mr. Pink says, "Hey, I don't believe in tipping," and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, how do you not believe in tipping?" Right?
Yeah.
Now, I used to have a a quasi-similar mindset where I was like, you're choosing an occupation that pays minimum wage, and tips are just a bonus, right? You can't go through like guaranteed that they're going to tip you 15% or 20 or whatever, right? So you're choosing this sort of like pay, right? In a sense. Now, it wasn't to the extreme of Mr. Pink where he just doesn't fucking tip at all, right? But I learned over time that, that's just not reality, right? Servers factor in tips and this and that. And depending on where you go, where I've gotten older and I've become, let's say, a regular at certain places, whether it's a coffee shop or a bar, you are treated differently or special, and, you tip accordingly. So to leave a fake piece of money is just the most shittiest thing I could ever think of for a server.
Yeah, but here's the thing: isn't going to heaven worth way more than a couple of dollars? Even
if you're a Christian, yes. However, even if the server is a Christian, right? They're not going to look at it and just like have this fucking clarity moment. They go, this was so much better than $5.
Here's the thing, though, Heathen. You got to plant the seed. Maybe this isn't the thing that puts them over the top, but this is, gets them started thinking about it.
I'd like to think that because they didn't give a tip and because they left some sort of self-righteous fucking propaganda, that it turns the server away from Christianity.
Maybe if they were already a Christian and they're like, what are you doing? Come on, I know this. I believe this stuff, but give me some money. Maybe this is all bullshit. Damn it. There is no God.
I would love to know the conversation, not to digress, but the conversation that Gabagai and you had when you lost your faith. That would be super interesting.
I don't think we talked about it directly. When I got...
There was some email, a little bit of email exchange shortly after you learned.
Was there?
Yeah, because I remember you asked me, because you were a typical Christian, what was the thing that turned me away? And I
remember that.
I remember one of the things I had said was that.
Oh yeah, I do remember this now.
When I was in high school, and I was still in high school, I think, when we had this conversation, but like how one of my classmates who happened to be an atheist was in taking some class where they were studying like Greek mythology or whatever, and I was kind of looking at his book or whatever, and I said something to the effect, "Isn't it crazy how people used to believe all this stuff?" And he said, "Well, kinda, but people still believe that a man lived for several days inside of a whale, or something like that."
Yeah, that people live to be 700 years old or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't have an answer to that because it wasn't something I had ever thought about. And that wasn't like, okay, now I'm an atheist, but it was a bit of an eye-opening moment for me at the time, and that was one of the things I had said to you. But yeah. So that's what I can remember of like our earliest conversation.
Shit, that must have been a while ago.
Oh yeah.
Are you the youngest, Turtle?
Yeah. Our two sisters are both older than us.
Oh, you're the baby.
Yeah.
Turtle's the baby.
I always imagined like Gabagai being the oldest for some reason.
Nope, he's the middle. He's one of the middle.
Of the two of us, I'm the oldest. So of the two siblings you were aware that existed, yes.
Yeah, that does make sense.
How old are you, Gabby?
I'm gonna be 79.
Because I imagine
he's 78 and a half right now.
I don't know your guys' age, but I imagine Turtle to be like maybe in his mid to late 20s.
I'll take that.
Okay, I don't even know what you look like, dude. I have like no idea. I know what Gabagai looks like, and He
Well,
can be.
you can
I
see
assumed that guy was in his like early to mid 30s.
You can see my profile picture every time I talk, so I don't know what you're talking
Oh
about.
yeah, well you know. Oh wait, I think I did see a picture of you. You had a shaved head and a goatee at one point, right?
Not a goatee, but I typically have a short cropped beard. But,
Okay.
but I am to end the mystery, because I know the audience is dying to know this.
Dying.
I am 35, and I will be
Oh, okay.
36
Oh,
on Halloween.
Yes.
you're fucking way older than I thought.
Thanks.
That means Gava guy's like fucking 45 or some shit.
41. I'm 5 years Turtle senior.
Holy shit, you're older than me. That's amazing.
Well, I should say I'll be 41 come my birthday in December. So.
And how old are your sisters?
79.
What? Why do you think Why do you? Either you guys are just being brotherly protective, or you just don't want me to know for whatever reason. I'm 40, so whatever. I just turned 40 in September.
How old is your sister?
She's 9 years older than me, so she's 50 something fucking other.
Would it be okay if I interview her?
Absolutely. Why would I care?
Fair enough.
So, yeah, they're older than us. We are all spaced out. Like as far as our birth years and things. So, I think the younger of the two sisters is like 6 years older than me, and the oldest is 9 years older than me. So
why would you tell me to stay away from your sisters?
She turned 50 this year, I think.
Why would you tell me to stay away from your sisters, other than being brotherly protective?
Just drop it.
Oh man, that's too funny.
There are some comments in the comment section here. Beard of Contingency called us a bunch of sophomoric punks.
Oh man, wait, are you talking about like on our current video?
Yes, that's right.
No shit, Beard of Contingency. What's up? My favorite parody account.
The analyticity of an analogical verity is contingent by definition, guys.
Oh man,
are you guys contingent? This is too easy.
Good stuff. That is good stuff, dude. I miss Beard of Contingency because he would just post wherever like Trey was.
Yeah.
I wonder if he got banned or blocked, because being blocked from Trey was kind of like it was such a punk bitch thing to do, because he would never he would always go. I would comment right on something, and then he would challenge me to some hangout in a sense, and be like, so, when are you free? And I'm like, when are you free to talk? I'm like, talk about what? Like, what do you want to talk about? And then he would never respond. I'm like, I don't know what you want to talk about, dude. Like, you're asking me to hang out, and what the fuck you want to talk about? And so then Beard of Contingency would come on and like just post some shit. It would always make me laugh, dude. It was great. It's good shit. I wonder if Beard of Contingency is like the same guy that's like that parodies like Darwin's Deity, and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the one guy that like just parodies everybody. Maybe.
Tune in next time to find out.
I know. I'd have Beard of Contingency on in 2 seconds if he ever wanted to be on. See, now I'm getting off.
Sounds like a challenge.
Now I'm getting all like these weird like fucking beeps for like notifications. I'm like, we're popular. We know people. So, all right. So, can we? So, now that we're done talking about your sisters, by the way, I can never be done, but I'll move on for your guys' sake. So, do we have anything else on the menu? We got like 20 minutes left on the show.
I don't think so. I mean, we kind of finished up our topics by like after the hour mark, and then since then we've just been talking about rock music and our sisters. So
Typical show.
Wait.
But-
You have a guy? Did you posted some Amy Winehouse shit?
Yeah, I did. I watched that documentary, Amy, actually 2 nights ago. She was one talented, messed up girl.
You have the weirdest taste in music.
Why?
Because you post like random stuff about music, and like for like bands I sometimes hear of, but sometimes I didn't hear of, and then it's like Amy Winehouse just seems like an odd sort of, like
you typically post about like metal music,
yeah,
and
exactly.
then Amy Winehouse is not in that
Right.
category. I think is,
Right.
is the disconnect that Heathen is.
Yes, it's like I post all this metal music, and then it's like, check out this Adele song. It's the shit, and you're just like, what?
Sorry.
Hey, do we have? Wait a minute. I'm going on our page. Oh shit, we got like a live stream, like comments and shit.
Yeah, just like you set that up, right?
I didn't mean to set this up.
Can you take it down?
I have no idea what this is.
Can you post the link to that? Because I don't know how to get to that.
Bit of contingency and
Analyticity.
Analogical verity is contingent by definition. Oh man, I wish I was seeing this for the whole fucking thing. Dude, this would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Are you guys contingent? This is too. Oh shit. Oh my gosh.
People are funny. Yeah, there's in Arkansas, in Little Rock, there was a bridge that was being torn down because it was old and they're replacing it or whatever. So they had kind of publicized the fact that they were going to implode the old structure. Part of it was concrete and part of it was metal, and they were going after the metal part first because it's over the Arkansas River, and they needed to clear out the channel because ships pass through there or whatever. But anyways, so they set this up. They had live feed. The city of, I think it was North Little Rock, is the city that was actually officially in charge of the construction project here, and the Department of Highway, Arkansas Department of Highway or whatever. So they have all this going on. The implosion happens, the explosion, and the bridge doesn't fall. And so, it even made some national news and things. Well, somebody sets up a Twitter account as the bridge. And all these people, you have thousands of people watching live as the this construction company fails to deliver on the demolition of this bridge, and the bridge is taunting the Department of Highway, Arkansas Department of Highway and whatever it is, and he posted up some, what's that clip from Monty Python where the French guy in the castle is saying, I shall taunt you for a second time, and whatever. It's hilarious. People are so funny. I love it.
I love people.
Well, it is. It's good. The internet is funny.
I so don't like people, but like sometimes the internet is pretty damn hilarious.
Yeah.
People can make me laugh, like Beard of Contingency and stuff, and then I go outside and I see dumb people, and I'm just like, I fucking hate people again.
Yeah. It doesn't take a whole lot.
Like, I'm so
yeah. Now that you mention, people are the worst.
Right. Fucking people, man.
I forgot about that, to be honest.
Like we're like they're man. Trey is just. I'm sorry.
But for every tray that's out there, you've got a Beard of Contingency that's funny and by all accounts.
Do you promise that there's a 1-to-1 ratio I'm not sure
Yeah,
that there's a 1-to-1
It's
ratio.
clear. Look, you've got Trey and Beard of Contingency. That's 1-to-1. What are you talking about, Turtle?
Yeah,
All
what's wrong
right,
with you guys?
you got me. You got me. You've won this debate.
Science. Science won that debate.
Damn it.
All right, we should wrap this up because the Packers are playing.
Yeah.
Oh, you fucker. I think I'm the only one out of us three that doesn't watch sports, right?
Yes.
All right.
You watch.
If you don't watch any sports, then yes, you are.
I watch the UFC, but other than that, I don't watch sports.
Yeah, you don't watch sports.
You don't watch
can't-
sports. You watch WWE.
I can't. That's true. I can't. Like. Okay, I'll give you one thing before you guys go. So, like, I'm at this place eating dinner, and these guys are cheering over the Angels versus Dodgers game that happened a few days ago. And I'm not saying these guys aren't top of the line athletes, or these guys, or I can do what they can do, or I can do it better, or anything like that. But when I see sports, I see people playing a game. You know what I mean? Like, and then people were like, bases are loaded, roar! They're like yelling at the Dodgers, roar! You know, and I'm like, there's like zero emotional investment involved for me. Like, I don't get it. I'm like, I get the same sort of excitement watching people play Jenga. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, is the tower gonna fall? Ooh, you know. And I know it's not remotely like on the same level, but I can't get into it. I just can't. I don't know why.
For me, I never cared about football really until I moved away from my home state, and so now there's at least a part of me that's like, okay, Packers are cool. That's where I'm from. I'm going to cheer for the Packers, and they do well some of the time. So
They've done pretty well for quite a long time.
Like, I'll give you an example. My roommate and I will go down to the bar. There's several bars where I live, and we'll watch stuff. And it's like he's a football guy, and it's like he's like he doesn't watch sports. And he's like, yeah, aren't you excited about this game? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, the guys in the blue outfits are running the ball to that rectangle better than the other guys are running the ball to the other rectangle. This is fucking awesome. You know, like, I just in my head I break it down to like the most basic and stupidest fucking like sort of thing, you know, like he's watching basketball. He's a big basketball guy too, and it's like, not that I can play basketball, not that I can play better basketball than these other guys. But when I see people playing basketball, it's like, oh, they're throwing the ball into that hole better than the other guys are throwing the ball better than the other hole. Like, this is not exciting to me. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you game at all? Do you PC game or Xbox or PlayStation?
Sure.
So that's what it is. It's just a bunch of games. It's the.
But I'm invested because I'm doing it though.
Right, but you get invested over the course of a season into a sport. So there's the short game, which is, so today the Packers are playing the Cowboys, and that game will go on for a couple of hours and then it'll end. But then there's the long form situation of how are the Packers doing within the season. Oh, this player got injured during this game. How does that affect the rest of it? So you get invested into the long form of how this story of the season plays out.
Okay.
Not buying it.
No. Like this is going to sound totally sexist, and just let me know if this sounds totally sexist. But my roommate was so desperate to watch sports last week that he was watching the WNBA. I know that sounds horrible, but he was like, there's no game on. I have to watch something. And it was like the WNBA, which is the only thing that was on.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever.
That sounds horrible, I know, but I don't know. I'm not my dad is a total sports
Well,
guy,
I think your point, I assume your point is that it's not something that he's invested in the long term, right?
Right. Well, and I can't get invested into it at all.
Well, I mean, it's you care about different things that other people care about. I mean,
sure.
Like if Gavigai didn't care about sports until he kind of gave the Packers a try, and then over time he got more into it, which I was surprised about because when I was younger, I liked sports and Gavigai didn't really at all. Other than, like, he was a skateboarding kid.
Yep.
And,
What?
Yep.
I know a guy the guy looks like, and skateboarding kid was not the first thing that popped into my head.
Well, he's no longer a kid. But so he was never into kind of the traditional sports, whereas I was, at least for a while, and then I got away from it, and then I kind of gravitated back into watching. But like now, like I'll follow the Packers, and if the Bucks, I'm from Milwaukee, if the Bucks are doing good or look like they might be doing good, I will I'll tune in, but I'm not going to invest my life into it. If they're looking like they're going to be a good team this season, I'll watch some games. But if not, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Like, I knew a guy when I was working nights who was so into the Yankees. Like, if you even said anything bad about the Yankees at all, like, he would try to start fighting you.
Wow.
And when
there
is some tribalism that goes on too, especially with like rivalries and whatever. So
he would literally they had a tarp where they in the bar where it played it on like on kind of projection screen kind of thing. It was like a sports night at the bar where I worked, and there was a time where it was like bottom of the ninth or some shit, and they were gonna it was the end of the game. He couldn't even watch the screen. He was literally sitting on the floor, like clutching his chest, like having heart palpitations or something over the stress of this game. Like literally sitting on the floor of the bar, and he couldn't look at the screen. And I'm like, really? Like you act like you're fucking playing on the team. Like you actually, you know what I mean? It's like you're there and you're on the team. Like you're just some douchebag watching a fucking baseball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People get invested.
We should do a show just on the tribalism of sports.
No.
I think we covered enough right here. But we should stop and watch some sports, actually.
Yes.
You fuckers. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for showing up. My two co-hosts here want to watch men in tight outfits ramming into each other, so we're gonna go.
You have nothing to say about watching
WWE?
men. Yeah.
I enjoy
a soap opera disguised as a sporting event.
I enjoy oiled up men that are in their underwear.
Yes, exactly.
Grappling each other in a non-sport that doesn't exist. We'll leave it at that. All right. Hey, anyway, if anyone else likes WWE, feel free to tell these two guys to fuck off for a second. So. All right, guys. Thanks for everyone for showing up. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers.